Sorry about that. Jason Rice, another Lot Party quick tip. I forgot to turn the mic on, but here I am. This might be repetitive, but hopefully it's not. And I say repetitive because I know I want to do this because I think, well, they say people only comprehend 10% of what they hear. So you got to say it 10 times for everybody to listen. If you've been in the car business for a while, nothing new here, but a reminder if you're somewhat new and you're still watching and understanding these patterns, this will be helpful. And what I mean by pattern, we're running into tax season, so it's been slow. Matter of fact, the last couple weeks, more and more dealers complain about margin compression, what they got to pay for cars, and they can't make any money, and it's slow. I mean, because again, it's that slower time of the season. People are waiting for tax returns, and just got out of the holidays and spent a lot of money and so forth like that. And dealers in the meantime are going to the lane buying cars. So what's selling at the lane, that percentage of sold at the lane is increasing because dealers are ramping up for a tax season push. So you got to pay up for these cars. In the meantime, the customers aren't there willing to pay up for the cars because they're not ready to buy yet. And if they are going to buy, they're waiting for the great deal, and they're going to go buy the car that is 120 days old on a dealer's lot that they're blowing out. Then buy your fresh car that you overpaid for right now. And so once the market shifts and the shoppers start coming and people have checks in their hands from tax return, then maybe they'll show up. And I say maybe because a lot of people went in debt and a lot of people are getting behind on things, and maybe they might need that tax return to get caught back up. So hopefully we run into a traditional season where we get some uptick in retail sales. Now, this time last year, matter of fact, I will show you my screen. Let me go into here, share my screen. Retail versus wholesale. This time last year, around March 18th, was our dealers' peak in 2-week sold percentages. I will tell you, most of our dealers sell at least 80% of their inventory, just average across the board for the whole year. But we have dealers that consistently sell 120, 150% plus. So to get our full average peak at 50% on March 18th of last year, that's looking at 2-week sales. So that means March 4th is when that started. And by March 18th, they hit the peak. And on average, hundreds of dealers all over the country were selling 100% of their inventory for that tax season. We go to the year prior, again, March 5th, dealers were at a 56% return, a 2-week sale. So they're selling 112%. That was just our average dealer in tax season. You go to the year prior than that, March 4th, it was 58%. Again, they're selling 116% of their inventory. So you can see, we can go back to, that was April of 2021. That was more of a COVID stuff. So 2023, 58, 59%, almost selling 120% of their inventory. The 59% again represents 2-week sale. And so that would put them on pace to sell 120. Last year, 2 years ago, was 56%. So on pace to 112. Last year, 50% are selling 100%. So you can see it's dropping each year. Hopefully we get an uptick and we get this, March 10th, 42%. It's starting to creep back up. Here we go, February 10th. It's starting to creep back up. And February 25th, it was still pretty low. So we still got a couple weeks. Now, here's what I wanted to talk about. 2 things. One, that one-day-old car. There you go, hey, it's tax season, let's hold out and raise our prices or don't get so aggressive. The problem is that one-day-old car will be 60 days old in April 15th when things slow down, okay? April 22nd, 2 weeks. Again, that's 2 weeks of sale. So take 22nd minus 14. It's about April 8th when it all started. Things were slowing down and the market dropped 5% in 2 weeks. That means the market dropped 10% by beginning of April. So that one-day-old car is going to be your age car in April. So if you get sloppy with that car management between now and April, 1st of April, you could have an aging problem April and May. And look, by June, it's really slow. So be disciplined in that inventory. But let's talk about lead match. And you go back 2 years ago, again, that volume by April 16th, that means April 2nd, it started 44% from the peak of 56%. It's a 12% drop in 2 weeks. That's a 24% drop in market volume across the board by April. So you have February 15th or whatever it is now, the 13th, to end of March to take advantage of this tax season. But if you're sloppy and don't stay ahead of the curve, this 1-day-old car, 2-day-old car, 10-day-old car that you want to give it a shot and don't want to blow it out right now, which is fine. Just realize you don't want to be holding that car in 60 days from now because it's your age car and the market's dropped. Talk about margin compression. But here's the other thing. Leads are going to come in, okay? You're going to get an uptick in leads. And here's what tends to happen with, I'm going to stop sharing now. When you get this uptick in volume, you get an uptick in leads. Well, let's say you have 5 people handling 500 leads, 100 apiece. All of a sudden, you jump up to 700 leads because the market's coming. Now you have 5 people handling 700 leads. And here's what's going to happen over the next 45 and 60 days as this volume ticks up is your team's going to work the low-hanging fruit, the fresh leads, and anybody getting back a hold of them. So that 10, 20, 30-day-old lead that no one's gotten back to gets pushed to the wayside as we're busy because I got 5 people now handling 700 leads instead of 500 leads, and they're just going to scrape by. And then what happens come April when things are slowing down? It's like, shit, things are slowed down. Let's start calling an email. Let's go figure out we got all these leads. Now we're calling a 40-day-old lead in April that submitted back in March, but we're busy. And we've only reached out to them twice, and here we are in April trying to stir it back up again. And guess what? Or I already bought somewhere else. Or no, I changed my mind. We're going to reach out to leads that are 40, 50, 60 days old that, again, we've only reached out once or twice. We don't even earn the privilege, I think, to actually reach out to them and say, hey, I know you submitted a lead 40 days ago, and I've only called you once, but we're slow, so just wondering if I can get your business now. So that being said, matter of fact, I'm going to share my screen again because I'm trying to help dealers stay ahead of this and solve this problem. And that goes back into lead management. So one of the things I was just talking to one of our dealers with, a 60-day window, this particular dealer has 326 leads. So a traditional follow-up process, they're going to weed through 326 leads to sell 50 cars. That's it. That's only a 15% return on their time. They got to call and email 326 leads to sell 50 cars. That's only a 15% return on their productivity. And so if I'm going to have an abundance of leads or I'm short staffed and I want to make sure we're handling leads appropriately, why don't we just look at the 121 leads where the car's still in stock? If I focus on the 121 that lightens up 200 leads, I can at least focus here to sell the same 50 cars. And if I take 50 car deals or 50 cars into 120 leads, that's more of a 41% return on my productivity. So almost tripled the amount of productivity or tripled the less amount of work that we need to do to sell the same amount of cars. The good news is, of the 121, 51 of them haven't been contacted in 2 days. So really, I just need to focus on these 51. So as this goes from 326 leads to 500 or 600 leads into the tax season, again, if I can get my team just to focus at least on the in-stock and then the ones that we haven't contacted in 2 days, I'm going to be more, be able to handle that load, okay? Because I only need one person to get a hold of 51 leads right now. I don't need, because with 326 leads, now that's 60 days. So let's say that's 160 leads a month. You almost need 2 people, 80 leads a piece to handle 160 leads. And so right now with only 51 people I need to reach out to, well, one person could do that in half a day, not even half a day. So you got to be more consistent with your processes, okay? And the low-hanging fruit should be active leads, cars still in stock. Now we have switch leads and all that we can still work. Those 200 leads, I'm not just brushing off, but I need to increase my ability to make an appointment and sell a car today. Well, let's focus there first. Active lead, cars still in stock, and I haven't followed up in the last couple of days. Do that first, because if not, you're going to go through this tax season and all these leads are just going to fall through the cracks. And then next thing you know, you're going to scramble in April and May, trying to scramble to stir up some business on old leads that just basically blew you off. So I hope this was helpful. Again, you just want to make sure you stay consistent with process, because you're not going to go hire another 1 or 2 people to handle the workload that could come during this tax season. You're going to stay with your same staff. So everybody's going to scramble, from the buyer, acquisition manager. We talked about that at used car, all things used cars this morning on Clubhouse. So you could be, the buyer's going to scramble to keep feeding the beast and all these sales, to your sales staff scrambling just to handle the ups and the leads, and things are going to fall through the cracks over the next 45 days, 60 days tops. And then next thing you know, you could be holding the bag in April and May and June when this thing really slows down, and all that exposes itself. It's like having a crack in your foundation. It's not a big deal up until it pours down and rains, and then your basement's flooded, right? And so that's what we're going to see. You're going to get all these cracks in your foundation as you get busy, and then come April and May, and all of a sudden you got 2 inches of water, negative equity in your inventory, and you got to try to figure out how to weed out of it. So just trying to help you stay ahead of it. If you want to see how we can help you do that, we'll combine inventory and lead management and keep your teams working together to fill these holes while you're moving along and not miss a beat. Reach out to us at lotwalk.com or lotpop.com, either way, or message me. I'll do the demo for you and we'll go over. Matter of fact, we've even plugged in some dealers' data before the demo and got to see it that way. So ask me about that, and or our NADA special and what we're running on new cars, because everything I showed you on used, we can do on new also. And we're running a special on that